What does true forgiveness look like? Is it forgetting the pain? Is it pretending the past never happened? Or is it facing deep wounds and choosing grace anyway? Today's story from Genesis 45 answers that question powerfully. It's the moment when Joseph, once betrayed and sold as a slave by his own brothers, finally reveals who he is. This is not just a family reunion. This is a turning point in biblical history. Let's begin. Years have passed since Joseph was thrown into a pit and sold into slavery, through suffering, false accusation, and prison. Joseph has risen by God's hand to become the governor of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh. A severe famine now grips the land. Joseph's brothers have come to Egypt seeking food, unaware that the powerful official before them is the brother they betrayed. Joseph has tested them not to punish, but to see if their hearts have changed. Now Judah has offered himself as a slave to save Benjamin. At this moment, Joseph can no longer hold back. Genesis tells us, then Joseph could not control himself before all those who stood by him. Joseph commands everyone else to leave the room. No guards, no servants, only Joseph and his brothers. The man who commands Egypt begins to weep loudly. His cries echo through the palace. This is not weakness. This is years of pain finally released. Then Joseph speaks. He says, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" The brothers freeze. They are terrified. The last time they saw Joseph, he was a helpless teenager begging for mercy. Now he stands before them with absolute power. They cannot answer him. Fear fills the room. Joseph steps closer. "Come near to me, please." And then he says the words that must have shattered their hearts. "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt." Joseph does something shocking. He does not accuse, he does not threaten, he does not demand an apology. Instead, he says, "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life." Joseph reframes the entire story. Yes, his brothers meant harm. But God was working through the harm to bring salvation. Joseph continues, "God sent me ahead of you to save lives by a great deliverance." This is not denial of pain. This is faith that sees God's purpose above human cruelty. Joseph explains that the famine will last 5 more years. If his family stays in Canaan, they will perish. So he tells his brothers, "Hurry and go up to my father. Tell him God has made me Lord of all Egypt." Joseph promises to provide for them, not revenge, not distance. Provision. Then Joseph embraces Benjamin and weeps. One by one, he kisses his brothers. Only then do they finally speak. Forgiveness has opened the door to healing. Joseph sends his brothers back with food, animals, and riches. But most importantly, with a message. Joseph is still alive. Imagine Jacob hearing this. The son he believed was dead is alive and ruling Egypt. What began with betrayal will now lead to the preservation of Israel. Genesis 45 teaches us something difficult but powerful. Forgiveness does not erase the past. It redeems it. Joseph understood this truth. What people intend for evil, God can turn into good. If God could use betrayal, slavery, and prison to save a nation, He can work through your story too. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is trust in God's greater plan. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. And remember, God is never finished writing your story.